The alarm started at 3 a.m. in the Luna monitoring station. Dr. Hana Yoon jumped from her bed and ran to the control room. Her heart was beating fast. She had worked at this station for 5 years, listening to the silence of space. Tonight, that silence was broken. "What is it?" she asked the night officer. "Unknown signal, doctor. It's not from any human source." Hana sat at her station and put on her headphones. The signal was weak but clear. It repeated every 30 seconds. She had spent her whole life studying languages, hoping one day she would hear something like this. Now that moment had come. The signal was not just noise. It had patterns. It had structure. It was a message. Hana worked for 6 hours straight. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she analyzed the signal. By 9 a.m., she had basic translation. Her hands were shaking as she read the words on her screen. "We are Villani. We are peaceful. We need help. They are killing us. Please, anyone. Help us." The message repeated with coordinates. A star system 47 light-years away. Hana picked up the phone and called Earth Command. "Sir, we have first contact." "And they're dying." Within hours, the message reached every government on Earth. The United Earth Council held an emergency meeting. Leaders from every nation gathered in Geneva. The room was full of fear and excitement. Humanity was not alone in the universe. But the first voice they heard was crying for help. Admiral Dae Hwang stood before the council. He was 60 years old with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had served in the military for 40 years. He had fought in the Mars Rebellion and kept the peace during the colony wars. He was respected by everyone. "Members of the council," Dae said, his voice calm and strong. "We have decoded more of the Villani message. They are under attack by something called the Krell Dominion. The Villani have no weapons, no army. They are scientists and explorers. The Krell are destroying their cities one by one. In 3 weeks, maybe 4, Villani's prime will fall." A council member from Brazil spoke up. "Admiral, we don't know anything about these Krell. They could be stronger than us. This could bring war to Earth." Another member agreed. "We should send a probe first. Study the situation. We can't risk human lives for aliens we know nothing about." Dae looked around the room. He saw fear in many faces. He understood that fear. But he also saw something else. He saw the same question in everyone's eyes. "What kind of people are we?" "For 300 years, Dae said, humanity has looked at the stars and wondered if we were alone. We built radio telescopes. We sent messages into space. We searched and hoped and dreamed of the day we would meet another intelligent species. That day is here, and the first thing we heard was a cry for help." He walked to the center of the room. "The Villani don't know we exist. They sent their message to anyone who could hear. They're not asking us specifically. They're asking the universe, and we are the ones who answered." Dae's voice grew stronger. "If we ignore this, what does that say about us? That we only care about other life when it's convenient? That we only help when there's no risk? Our children will ask us what we did on this day. What will we tell them? That we heard someone dying and we looked away?" The room was silent. Then the council member from Japan stood up. "The Admiral is right. We must go." One by one, other members stood. The vote was called. It was not unanimous, but it was clear. Earth would send help. Dae returned to his office and made calls. Within minutes, orders went out across the solar system. Every military base, every shipyard, every training facility. The message was simple: prepare for deployment. Captain Jin Park was eating breakfast on his ship, the dreadnought Indomitable, when the alert came. He put down his coffee and read the message twice. Then he smiled. Jin was 42 years old and had commanded the Indomitable for 3 years. His ship was the largest warship humanity had ever built. It had never seen real combat. That was about to change. "All crew to stations," Jin announced over the ship's speakers. "This is not a drill. We're going to war." Lieutenant Soo Kim was in the navigation room when she heard the announcement. She was only 28 but was the best navigator in the fleet. She had an ability to see patterns in space that others missed. People said she had instincts. Sue thought of it as just paying attention. Now she had a job that terrified her. Plot a course to a star system 47 light-years away. Use the quantum fold drive that had only been tested 3 times. Bring 15 dreadnoughts, 47 destroyers, and hundreds of other ships through space without losing a single one. One mistake in her calculations and ships could appear inside a star, or scattered across light-years of empty space, or torn apart by dimensional stress. Sue didn't sleep for the next 2 days. She worked at her computer, checking every number 100 times. She simulated the jump again and again. Back on Earth, Dr. Hana continued studying the Villani messages. The alien sent updates every few hours. Each message was more desperate than the last. Hana learned the Villani language quickly. She discovered they were peaceful people who loved art and science. They had explored space for 200 years and never found other intelligent life. Until the Krell came. Hana found files about the Krell in the Villani database. What she read made her blood run cold. The Krell Dominion was an empire that conquered other species. But they didn't just conquer. They completely destroyed every man, woman, and child. Then they took the planet's resources and moved to the next target. The Villani archives showed 17 civilizations that the Krell had erased. Billions of beings, gone. And now the Villani were next on the list. Hana sent her findings to Admiral Day. He read the report in his office aboard the flagship. He was sitting alone, looking at pictures of the destroyed civilizations. He thought about his grandchildren back on Earth. He thought about what kind of galaxy they would grow up in. There was a knock on his door. His officers came in for a briefing. "Sir, the fleet is almost ready," his executive officer reported. "We'll have 320 ships total. It's the largest fleet in human history." Day nodded. "How are the crews?" "Nervous but ready. Most of them have never been in combat." "Neither have I," Day admitted. "Not like this. The Mars Rebellion was brutal, but it was humans fighting humans. We knew our enemy. This time we're flying into the unknown." His communication officer spoke up. "Sir, we're receiving another message from the Villani. It's Elder Kiva, their leader." Day listened to the translation. The Villani leader's voice was weak. "To anyone who hears this, our cities are burning. Our people are dying. We sent messages to every civilization we know. No one has come. No one will risk the Krell's anger. We understand. We don't blame them. But please remember us. Remember that we existed. Remember that we tried to fill the universe with knowledge and beauty. Goodbye." Day stood up. His officers looked at him, waiting. "Send a message back," Day ordered. "Tell them Earth has heard their call. Tell them we're coming, and tell them to hold on just a little longer." His officers looked surprised. "Sir, if we send a message, the Krell might detect it." "They'll know we're coming," Day smiled. "Good. Let them know. Let them fear. The age of the Krell Dominion is about to end. They just don't know it yet." The message was sent. On Valanus Prime, in a bunker deep underground, Elder Kiva heard the response. The Villani leader couldn't believe it. Someone was coming. Someone had answered. In orbit around Neptune, the human armada gathered. 320 ships. Thousands of crew members, all ready to jump across the stars to save people they had never met. Admiral Day stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the fleet through the window. Behind him, Lieutenant Sue reported that the jump coordinates were ready. Captain Jin and the other ship commanders waited for the order. Day thought about humanity, about who they were and who they wanted to be. Then he gave the command that would change the galaxy forever. "All ships, prepare for quantum fold. We're going to make history." The gathering took 3 days. Ships came from everywhere, from Earth's orbital shipyards, from Mars bases, from the mining colonies in the asteroid belt, from the military stations around Jupiter. Humanity pulled together every warship it had built in the last 50 years. Commander Bei Sung flew his fighter toward the gathering point near Neptune. Behind him came the entire Tiger Squadron, 24 of the best pilots in the fleet. Bei was 31 years old and had been flying since he was 18. He loved the freedom of space, the way his fighter responded to his touch like it was part of his body. "Tiger Lead, this is Neptune Control," a voice said in his helmet. "You're clear to dock with Carrier Sovereign. Welcome to the party." Bei looked at the fleet gathering ahead. He had never seen so many ships in one place. Massive dreadnoughts that could destroy a city with one shot. Fast destroyers built for hunting enemy ships. Carriers full of fighters like his. Support ships carrying fuel, ammunition, and supplies. And the hospital ships painted white with red crosses ready to save lives. "Copy that, Control," Bei replied. "Tiger Squadron inbound." He guided his fighter into the Sovereign's landing bay. As soon as he climbed out of his cockpit, another pilot ran up to him. It was his wingman, Jay. "Did you see the size of that fleet?" Jay said, excited. "The Krell won't know what hit them." Bei wasn't so sure. "We don't know anything about the Krell. They might have weapons we've never seen. Technology beyond ours. Then we'll learn fast, Jay said with a grin. That's what humans do best, right? Deep in the engine rooms of the flagship, Chief Engineer Tae Wan was working on the quantum fold drive. Tae was 55 years old and had helped design the drive system 15 years ago. Back then it was just theory. Now it was real and it scared him. The quantum fold drive bent space itself. It created a bubble around the ship and pushed it through dimensions that humans barely understood. In tests, they had sent single ships a few light years. It worked, but it was dangerous. The slightest miscalculation could tear a ship apart. Now they wanted to send over 300 ships 47 light years all at once. It's impossible. Tae had told Admiral Day 2 days ago. Make it possible, Day had replied. So Tae worked. He barely slept. He synchronized every drive in the fleet to match frequencies. He checked every power coupling twice. His team of engineers worked around the clock. A young engineer named Yuki approached him with a tablet. Sir, the quantum resonance on the Indomitable is 0.03% off synchronization. 0.03? Tae rubbed his tired eyes. That's within acceptable range. But sir, if we're all jumping together, even 0.03 could create cascade drift. The Indomitable might arrive hours after the rest of the fleet. Tae looked at the numbers. The kid was right. Fine. Get a team to the Indomitable. I want perfect synchronization on every ship. Yes, sir. Sir, do you think this will work? Tae looked at the young engineer. He thought about lying, about giving false confidence. But he decided on honesty. I don't know. This is the biggest jump ever attempted. But if we don't try, those aliens will die. So we'll make it work. On the hospital ship Mercy, Dr. Mei Shin was preparing for the worst. Mei was the chief medical officer, 48 years old with 20 years of experience. She had treated injuries from accidents, from combat, from radiation exposure, but she had never treated aliens. We don't even know if human medicine will work on them, her assistant said, looking worried. Then we'll figure it out, Mei replied, organizing medical supplies. Dr. Hana sent us biological data on the Villani. Their chemistry is similar to ours, carbon-based oxygen breathers. Our medicines might work, or we'll invent new ones. She walked through the hospital ship's halls, checking that every room was ready. Beds for human casualties, beds for Villani refugees, operating rooms, quarantine areas. The Mercy could handle 5,000 patients. Mei hoped that would be enough. Colonel Hyun Choi was in the training bay with his Marines. Hyun was 45, a veteran of every major conflict in the last 20 years. He was training his unit for ground combat. They might need to fight on the Villani planet. They had to be ready. Listen up, Hyun shouted to his Marines. We don't know what Krell ground forces look like. We don't know their tactics. But we know one thing. They're good at killing civilians. Let's see how they do against United Earth Marines. The Marines cheered. Hyun watched them train. They were young and brave. Many had never been in real combat. He hoped he could bring most of them home alive. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Day was meeting with his senior officers. They stood around a holographic display showing the Volanis system. Intelligence analysis, Day said to his tactical officer. Sir, based on Villani transmissions, the Krell have at least 200 ships in the system. Most are cruiser class, maybe 15 are capital ships. They're maintaining a siege formation around the planet. Captain Jin, joining by video link from the Indomitable, spoke up. 200 ships against our 300. Good odds. Don't be overconfident, Day warned. We don't know their capabilities. For all we know, one of their ships could destroy 10 of ours. Lieutenant Su, working at her navigation station, reported, Admiral, jump calculations are complete. All ships are synchronized. We can initiate quantum fold on your command. Day looked at the young lieutenant. Are you certain? No errors. I've checked everything 5 times, sir. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. This jump is beyond anything we've tested. Honesty is good, Day said. Fear keeps us careful. Trust your work, Lieutenant. Dr. Hana's voice came through the communication system from Luna Station. Admiral, I just received another message from the Villani. The Krell are beginning their final assault. They're bombing the cities. If we don't arrive in the next 24 hours, it will be too late. Day nodded slowly. Then we leave now. Thank you, Dr. Hana. Your work made this possible. He turned to his crew. Send the message to all ships. Final checks. We jump in 1 hour. Across the fleet, crews prepared. Engineers checked their systems one last time. Pilots sat in their fighters. Marines checked their weapons. Medical staff prepared their equipment. Everyone knew this moment would define humanity's future. In his fighter bay, Commander Bay gathered Tiger Squadron. This is it, people. First contact. First battle. Whatever happens out there, remember your training. Stay tight, watch each other's backs, and show the galaxy what human pilots can do. On the Mercy, Dr. May stood with her medical team. No matter what happens in the battle, our job is to save lives. Every life. Human or alien. That's what we do. That's who we are. Chief Engineer Tay looked at his engine displays one final time. The quantum fold drives were ready. All 300 ships synchronized perfectly. He sent a message to the bridge. Engineering ready. Drives at full power. Let's make history, Admiral. Admiral Day received reports from every ship. Already, he stood on his bridge and looked out at the fleet. So many ships. So many people putting their trust in his leadership. He thought about the Villani, huddled in bunkers while their world burned. He thought about his grandchildren on Earth and what kind of galaxy he wanted them to grow up in. His communication officer turned to him. Sir, all ships report ready for quantum fold. Day took a deep breath. Send this message to the fleet. Today, humanity takes its place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as explorers, but as defenders of those who cannot defend themselves. We go into the unknown, but we go together. We are the United Earth Fleet, and we will not abandon those who cry for help. The message was sent across the fleet. On every ship, crews heard their admiral's words. They stood a little straighter. They felt a little braver. Day gave the command. All ships, initiate quantum fold. Destination, Villanis system. Execute. Lieutenant Sue pressed the button. The drives activated. Space around the fleet began to twist and bend. Reality folded in ways that hurt to look at. The stars stretched into lines. The darkness of space turned into colors that had no names. 320 ships vanished from the Neptune staging area. They traveled through dimensions beyond normal space, crossing 47 light-years in minutes instead of decades. Inside the ships, crews felt their stomachs turn. Some people got sick. Others prayed. All of them held on and hoped they would arrive in one piece. In the navigation room, Sue watched her instruments and whispered to herself, "Please work. Please work. Please work." The journey through quantum fold space lasted 10 minutes. It felt like hours. Then suddenly space snapped back to normal. Stars appeared where they should be. The twisted colors vanished. The fleet emerged into normal space at the edge of the Villanis system. Sue checked her displays. All 320 ships had arrived. Not one was lost. She started crying with relief. On the bridge, Admiral Day looked at the tactical display. Ahead of them was Villanis Prime. Around it was the Krell siege fleet. 200 enemy ships. Behind them, cities burned on the planet below. "Admiral," his tactical officer said, voice shaking. "We're being scanned by the Krell fleet. They know we're here." Day smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Good, let them see us. Let them count our ships. Let them fear. Weapons free. All ships attack formation. For Villanis." The human armada charged forward, and the battle for Villanis Prime began. The Krell fleet hung in space around Villanis Prime like vultures around a dying animal. Their ships were strange. They looked alive, not built. Organic curves instead of metal angles. Dark purple skin instead of steel. They pulsed with red light like beating hearts. On the Krell flagship, Commander Thex watched his screens as the human fleet appeared. He had been conquering worlds for 30 years. He had destroyed 17 civilizations. No one had ever challenged the Krell dominion before. No one dared. Unknown ships entering system, his scanner officer reported. 320 vessels. Configuration unknown, species unknown, Thex laughed. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. Some fools come to die with the Villani. Prepare weapons. We'll add their bones to our collection. But then Thex looked closer at his screens. The unknown ships were not running away. They were not asking to talk. They were charging directly at his fleet. At full speed. With weapons powering up. "Sir, they're attacking," his officer screamed. Thex stopped laughing. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Jin watched the Krell fleet grow larger on his screens. His hands were steady on the command console. His crew waited for orders, nervous but ready. "Distance to target?" Jin asked. 200,000 kilometers and closing, sir. Jin nodded. Weapons. Activate railgun batteries. Target their command ships. The Indomitable's main weapons came to life. 6 massive railguns, 3 on each side of the ship. Each gun could fire a tungsten rod the size of a telephone pole at 3% the speed of light. The rods had no explosives. They didn't need any. At that speed, pure mass was enough to destroy anything. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Fire! The railguns roared. 6 tungsten rods launched into space. They crossed the distance in seconds. The Krell had shields, but the shields were designed to stop energy weapons like lasers. The heavy metal rods punched through the shields like paper and hit the Krell ships behind them. The first Krell cruiser exploded. The second one broke in half. The third started spinning out of control, atmosphere venting from a massive hole in its side. Jin smiled. Reload, find me more targets. Across the human fleet, every ship opened fire. The Krell had never seen weapons like this. Magnetic accelerators, kinetic impactors, explosive missiles. The humans used physics as a weapon, and physics didn't care about shields. Commander Bay launched from the Sovereign with Tiger Squadron behind him. 24 human fighters screamed toward the Krell fleet at maximum speed. Tiger Squadron, this is lead, Bay said over the radio. Stay in formation. Watch for enemy fighters. We're going for their command ships. Copy that, lead, his pilots responded. The Krell launched their own fighters. They looked like flying insects, all spikes and wings. They moved fast but in straight lines, predictable. Bay fired his weapons. Missiles streaked from his fighter and hit 2 Krell fighters. They exploded in balls of fire. His squadron followed his lead and the space around them filled with explosions. They're faster than us, but not smarter, Bay said. Use your training. Outthink them. The human pilots danced through space. They used rolls and spins that the Krell couldn't follow. Tiger Squadron lost 2 fighters, but they destroyed 20 enemy craft in the first 5 minutes. Bay led his remaining fighters toward a Krell capital ship. It was huge, 5 times bigger than any human ship. It fired energy beams that lit up space like lightning. One beam missed Bay's fighter by meters. He felt the heat even through his shields. Tiger Squadron, concentrate fire on that ship's command section. All missiles now. 22 fighters launched their missiles together. 44 missiles hit the Krell capital ship at the same spot. The ship's organic armor cracked. Atmosphere and bodies spilled into space. The ship stopped firing and began to drift. On the Mercy, Dr. May watched the battle on screens while preparing for casualties. She knew they would come. War always brought wounded. First casualties incoming. A nurse shouted. Destroyer Phoenix took a hit. 30 injured. May ran to the receiving bay. The wounded arrived on shuttles. Burns from energy weapons. Broken bones from explosions. All kinds of injuries. Her medical team worked fast, moving patients to operating rooms. We can handle this, May told her staff. Stay focused. Save every life we can. Admiral Day stood on his flagship's bridge watching the battle develop. Lieutenant Sue worked next to him, coordinating fleet movements with incredible precision. Admiral, the Krell are trying to form a defensive wall, Sue reported. They're grouping their capital ships. Don't let them organize, Day ordered. Captain Jin, take the Indomitable and 4 other dreadnoughts. Break their formation. Hit them hard. Yes, sir. Jin responded with enthusiasm. The Indomitable and 4 sister ships punched through the Krell line like a hammer. Their railguns never stopped firing. Tungsten rods tore through enemy ships. The Krell formation broke apart, but the Krell were not helpless. They adapted. Their energy weapons focused fire on the Indomitable. 3 beams hit the dreadnought's forward shield. The shield held, but barely. Shield at 40%, Jin's tactical officer shouted. Another hit like that and we're in trouble.
Jin gritted his teeth.
Evasive maneuvers. Keep firing. Show them what human engineering can do. The battle raged for 3 hours. Space filled with fire and debris. Ships on both sides died. The Krell fought hard, but they had never faced an enemy like humans. An enemy that used both advanced technology and ancient weapons. An enemy that thought differently. Lieutenant Sue saw a pattern in the Krell movements. Admiral, look at this. The Krell ships are taking orders from that big one in the center. It's their command ship. Day looked at the tactical display. Sue was right. All Krell movements originated from one massive ship. If we destroy that ship, we break their command structure. Good work, Lieutenant. He opened a channel to the whole fleet. All ships, new priority target. Krell flagship transmitting coordinates now. Concentrate all fire. Let's cut off the head! Every human ship turned toward the Krell flagship. Commander Thex watched his screens with growing horror as hundreds of human weapons pointed at him. Retreat! Thex shouted. Full power to engines! Get us out of here! But it was too late. The human fleet fired everything at once. Railgun rounds, missiles, torpedoes, energy weapons, all hitting the same target. The Krell flagship's shields collapsed. Its organic armor cracked and burned. Explosions rippled across its surface. Thex had time for one final thought before his ship exploded. What are these humans? With their command ship destroyed, the Krell fleet fell into chaos. Ships stopped coordinating. Some tried to fight. Some tried to run. The human fleet took advantage, destroying enemy ships one by one. Colonel Hyun watched from his transport ship, frustrated. I'm a Marine sitting here watching pilots have all the fun. When do we get to fight? His second-in-command smiled. Patience, Colonel. We'll get our turn. Commander Bay was running low on missiles. Tiger Squadron had lost 6 fighters now, but they had destroyed 40 Krell craft. He was exhausted, but he kept flying. Kept fighting. Tiger Lead, this is Sovereign. Return to carrier for rearm. Negative, Sovereign. Still have guns and a few missiles. We stay in the fight. Bay saw a group of Krell fighters attacking a damaged human destroyer. The destroyer couldn't defend itself. Bay didn't hesitate. Tiger Squadron with me. Protect that destroyer. His remaining fighters dived into the fight. They destroyed the Krell fighters, but Bay's fighter took damage. Warning lights flashed in his cockpit. Engine 2 failing. Controls sluggish, Bay reported calmly. Tiger Lead, get back to the carrier. His wingman Jay shouted. Not yet. Still have one good engine and missiles. I can fight. After 5 hours of battle, the Krell fleet was broken. Out of 200 ships, only 30 remained. These survivors tried to escape, jumping to faster-than-light speed, running away from the human armada. Admiral Day wanted to chase them, to destroy every last one. But he looked at his damage reports. 12 human ships destroyed, 42 damaged, hundreds of casualties, and below them, the Vellani planet still burned. Let them run, Day ordered. Let them tell their empire what happened here. All ships secure the system. Medical ships to the planet. It's time to save some lives. Captain Jin looked at his ship's damage report. The Indomitable had taken heavy hits but survived. His crew had performed perfectly. He was proud of them. Good work, everyone. We won. On the Mercy, Dr. May worked on a patient with severe burns. She had been operating for 4 hours straight. Her hands were tired, but she didn't stop. Another life to save. Another person to send home to their family. Commander Bay finally returned to the Sovereign. His fighter was barely flying. When he landed, mechanics rushed to see the damage. How did you even fly this thing back? One mechanic asked, amazed. Bay climbed out of his cockpit. His hands were shaking from adrenaline. Carefully. Very carefully. How many did we lose? 6 from Tiger Squadron. 18 from the whole carrier group. Bay closed his eyes. 6 good pilots. 6 friends. Prepare my backup fighter. We're not done yet. The Krell might come back. On his flagship, Admiral Day looked at the planet below. Smoke rose from burning cities. But they had arrived in time. The Vellani survived. Now came the hard part. The Mercy descended through Valanus Prime's atmosphere. Dr. May watched through the window as the planet's surface came into view. Beautiful oceans, green forests, and cities that were still burning from Krell attacks. Landing zone ahead, the pilot reported. It's outside the main Vellani city. They've cleared a space for us. May turned to her medical team. Remember, these are our first aliens. Be respectful. Be careful. We don't know if our medicine will work on them, but we'll do our best. The ship landed gently. May was the first to step out. The planet's air was fresh and clean like Earth's, but with a sweet smell she couldn't identify. A group of Vellani waited nearby. May's first thought was how beautiful they were. The Vellani stood about 7 feet tall, taller than humans. Their skin was translucent, like looking through frosted glass. Underneath, soft lights moved in different colors. May realized the lights showed their emotions. Right now, the Vellani glowed with warm yellows and oranges. Hope. Gratitude. One Vellani stepped forward. She was clearly old, her movements slow but dignified. I am Elder Kiva. On behalf of all Vellani, I welcome you to our world. You saved us. We have no words big enough to thank you. Dr. Hana had prepared translation devices for this moment. May wore a small earpiece that converted Villani speech to English and her words to Villani language. "I'm Dr. May Shin from Earth," May said. "We brought medicine and doctors. Let us help your injured." Kiva's light shifted to gentle blue. Relief. "Please follow me. Many of our people need help." The Villani led May's team to a shelter. Inside, hundreds of injured Villani lay on simple beds. Their glowing skin was dim, their lights flickering. May's heart broke at the sight. "We'll save as many as we can," May promised. "My team is the best in the fleet." Her doctors and nurses spread out through the shelter. They examined Villani patients carefully. The biology was different but not impossible to understand. May realized that their light-based emotions made diagnosis easier. Pain showed as red flashes, fever as orange pulses. "This one has internal bleeding," a doctor called out. "I need help here." May rushed over. She used her scanner on the injured Villani. The readings were strange but readable. "Prepare for surgery. Get me the portable operating unit." She worked for 6 hours straight, saving Villani lives one by one. Her team adapted quickly, learning Villani biology as they went. By the end of the first day, they had treated 200 patients. Most would survive. While the medical teams worked on the surface, Admiral Day met with Elder Kiva in a Villani government building that had survived the attacks. Captain Jin and Lieutenant Su accompanied him. Dr. Hana joined by video link from the flagship. Kiva sat across from them, her lights shifting between colors as she spoke. "We sent our distress signal to 5 other civilizations. All of them ignored us. They feared Krell revenge. But you, who had never met us, crossed the stars to help." "Why?" Day thought carefully about his answer. "Because it was the right thing to do. Because we believe that life is precious, all life. And because we wanted our first message to the galaxy to be clear. Humanity stands against tyranny." Kiva's lights turned bright gold. Joy. "You don't know what you've done. The Krell have ruled this region of space for 200 years. They've destroyed 17 civilizations. Everyone else lives in fear, too afraid to fight back. Until today. Today you showed the galaxy that the Krell can be defeated." "Tell us about them," Jin said. "We need to understand our enemy." Kiva's lights darkened to purple. Fear and sadness. The Krell Dominion started as one planet. They had natural weapons, biological armor, aggression in their very genes. They built ships from living tissue, grew armies instead of training them. They conquered their neighbors, then their neighbors' neighbors. Each victory made them stronger. Now they control 50 star systems and have enslaved a dozen species. "Enslaved?" Sue asked, horrified. "The Krell don't just kill everyone," Kiva explained. "Some species they keep alive as workers. Slaves to build their ships, mine their resources. It's a fate worse than death." Dave felt cold anger growing inside him. Are there other civilizations like the Villani? Peaceful ones living in fear? 6 that I know of, Kiva said. Maybe more. All of them hide, trying not to attract Krell attention. Your arrival will change everything. Some will see hope. Others will see danger. The Krell will definitely see a threat. As if responding to her words, Lieutenant Sue's communicator beeped. She listened to the message and her face went pale. "Admiral, we have a problem. Scout ship reports they found a Krell probe in the outer system. It was watching the battle and transmitting data." Day stood up quickly. "Where is it now?" "Destroyed, sir. But it already sent its information. The Krell Dominion knows about us. They know where we came from. They know Earth's location." The room went silent. Jin spoke first. "They'll come for us. It's what they do." "Yes," Day agreed. "They'll come. But we won't wait for them. We'll take the fight to them first." Kiva looked at the humans with concern. "Admiral, the Krell have hundreds of ships. Thousands of slave soldiers. You defeated one fleet, but the Dominion is vast. If you fight them, many of your people will die." "Many will die if we don't fight," Day countered. "The Krell know about Earth now. They'll come eventually. Better to face them on our terms than wait for them to choose when and where to attack." He stood and walked to the window, looking out at the damaged city. "But we can't do this alone. Elder Kiva, you said other civilizations live in fear of the Krell. What if they had hope? What if they saw that the Krell can be beaten? Would they join us?" Kiva thought about this. Her lights shifted through many colors. "Perhaps. The Threxians have ships. The Lithians have powerful shield technology. Others have soldiers, resources, knowledge. Together they might be strong enough. But they need someone to lead them. Someone brave enough to stand against the Krell first. We already did that, Jin said with a slight smile. Then we need to tell the others, Day decided. Dr. Hana, can you prepare a message? Broadcast it to all the civilizations in this region. Tell them what happened here. Tell them humanity stands with anyone who chooses freedom over slavery. Tell them we're forming a coalition. Hana's image on the screen nodded. I'll start working on it immediately, Admiral. But sir, are you sure? This could start a war that spreads across multiple star systems. The war already started, Day replied. The Krell started it 200 years ago. We're just finishing it. Over the next few days, the human fleet helped rebuild Valanis Prime. Colonel Hyun's Marines worked alongside Valani civilians to clear rubble and rescue survivors trapped in collapsed buildings. Engineer Tae and his team helped repair the planet's power stations and communication networks. Commander Bay and Tiger Squadron flew patrol missions around the planet, watching for more Krell ships. None came, but Bay stayed alert. He knew they would return eventually. Dr. May's medical teams continued treating the wounded. They worked with Valani doctors, sharing knowledge. May was amazed at how quickly everyone adapted. Humans and Valani working together like they had known each other for years. One evening, May was taking a break when a young Valani approached her. The Valani's lights were soft green. Gratitude, Dr. May. I'm Hana. You saved my mother yesterday. The surgery you performed. Valani doctors said it was impossible. But you did it, May smiled tiredly. We just did what we could. I'm glad she survived. Why did you come? Hana asked. Your people didn't know us. We have nothing to offer you. Why risk your lives? May thought about the question. Because someone needed help. That's enough reason, isn't it? We're all just people trying to survive in this big universe. We should help each other. The young Valani's lights turned bright gold. I hope more species think like humans. Dr. Hana's broadcast went out across the sector. The message was simple but powerful. It told the story of Valanis Prime, how the Valani cried for help and Earth answered, how a human fleet defeated the Krell, and it ended with an invitation. To all civilizations living in fear of the Krell Dominion, the age of fear is ending. Humanity stands with you. We don't seek to rule you or control you. We ask only that you stand with us. Together we can build a galaxy where peaceful people don't have to live in terror. Together we can show the Krell that their time is over. Join us, fight with us, be free with us. The message spread across the sector. On 6 different planets, people received it with different reactions. Some were hopeful. Some were afraid. All of them were surprised. On Earth, the United Council held another emergency meeting. Admiral Day appeared via video link. Admiral, you're starting a war, a council member said, clearly worried. No, sir, Day replied. I'm ending one. The Krell have been at war with peaceful people for 2 centuries. We're just helping those people fight back. Another council member spoke up. What if the Krell retaliate against Earth? What if we can't win? Day looked directly at the camera. Then we lose. But we lose standing up for what's right. We lose fighting tyranny. We lose as humans who refuse to let innocents die when we had the power to help them. I'd rather lose that way than win by doing nothing. The council voted. It was close, but they agreed. Earth would support the war against the Krell Dominion. More ships, more resources, more volunteers. Back on Valanis Prime, Admiral Day stood with Elder Kiva on a hill overlooking the city. Ships started arriving at Valanis Prime within a week. First came the Threxians in their heavy merchant vessels converted to warships. The Threxians looked like walking crystals, their bodies made of living mineral that reflected light in rainbow patterns. They spoke with voices like chimes. We bring 47 ships, their leader said through translators. Not much, but we've dreamed of fighting the Krell for 50 years. Today that dream begins. Next came the Lithians, floating in tanks of special liquid they needed to breathe. They looked like jellyfish made of light, beautiful and delicate. But their technology was impressive. Their shields could stop almost any weapon. We have the best defense systems in the sector, the Lithian representative communicated through their tank's speakers. We'll share everything with the coalition. No more hiding our technology. Together we're stronger. 4 more civilizations sent ships and volunteers. The Manthar brought their soldiers, trained warriors who had been preparing for this fight for generations. The Korvex contributed their engineers and shipbuilders. The Yulani offered their sensor technology. The Proth shared their medical knowledge. Admiral Day watched the fleet grow day by day. Human ships, Valani science vessels converted to support ships, Threxian cruisers. Lithium shield generators, all gathering in orbit around Valanus Prime. Within 3 weeks, the Coalition fleet numbered over 600 ships from 8 different species. It was the largest alliance in recorded history, and it all started because humanity answered a distress call. Commander Bay was training alien pilots in human fighter tactics. The hangar bay was chaos. Threxians learning to fly. Manthar warriors fitting into cockpits designed for humans. Translation devices struggling to keep up with orders in 8 different languages. No, 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 Bay shouted at a Threxian pilot. You're thinking too slow. Krell ships are fast. You have to predict where they'll be, not where they are. The Threxian pilot chimed in frustration. Human reflexes are faster than ours. We can't react like you do. Then don't react, Bay said. Think ahead. Use your brain before your hands, watch. He climbed into a fighter and showed them. He flew through an obstacle course, calling out his decisions before he made them. Enemy will come from left. I turn right before he appears. He expects me to run. I attack instead. Think 3 moves ahead. The alien pilots watched and learned. Slowly they improved. Bay worked 16-hour days, but he didn't complain. These pilots would fight beside him. He wanted them to survive. Engineer Tay was in his element. He worked with Corvex engineers to integrate different technologies. Lithium shields on human ships, human weapons on Threxian vessels, Villani sensors everywhere. It was complicated but fascinating. This is impossible, a Corvex engineer said, looking at the plans. 8 different power systems. 6 different computer types. Nothing is compatible. Tay smiled. Then we make them compatible. Build adapters. Write new software. We have smart people from 8 civilizations. Use that brain power. They worked day and night. Slowly, the Coalition fleet became unified. Ships that could work together, communicate together, fight together. Dr. May had a different challenge. The Coalition had soldiers from multiple species and they all could get injured. She needed to learn how to treat everyone. This is going to be interesting, she told her medical staff. Manthar bleed green. Lithians don't have blood at all. Threxians can crack like glass. We need to be ready for everything. She worked with doctors from each species, creating a medical database. How to treat each kind of injury for each kind of being. Her hospital ship became a center of learning, where doctors from different worlds shared knowledge. One night, a Villani doctor asked her, Dr. May, aren't you afraid? We're about to fight the Krell Dominion. They've never lost a war. May thought about it. Of course I'm afraid. But being afraid just means you understand the danger. It doesn't mean you stop fighting. Colonel Hyun was training the first multi-species Marine unit in history. Human Marines next to Manthar warriors. Villani scouts with human equipment. Everyone learning to work together. Listen up, Hyun shouted to the mixed unit. I don't care what planet you're from. In combat, you're all Marines. You protect each other. You fight together. You win together. Got it? Yes, sir. They shouted back in 8 different languages. Hyun watched them train. Hand-to-hand combat between species that had different strengths. Humans were tough. Manthar were stronger. Villani were faster. Everyone had something to contribute. This might actually work, his second-in-command said, watching a human and a Manthar working together perfectly. It has to work, Hyun replied. It's the only chance we've got. On the flagship, Lieutenant Su was analyzing Krell space with information provided by the Coalition members. She built a map of Krell territory, 50 star systems, hundreds of planets, thousands of ships, and at the center, the Krell homeworld, Krell Prime. Admiral, she said, calling Day to her station. I've been studying Krell movements. All their orders come from Krell Prime. All their supplies flow through it. It's the heart of their empire. Day looked at her map. You're thinking we should attack it directly. It's crazy, Sue admitted. Krell Prime is heavily defended. Maybe 1,000 ships. Advanced weapons. But if we could strike there, we could cripple their entire empire. Cut off the head and the body dies. Captain Jin joined the conversation. It would take everything we have. No reserves, no backup. If we lose everything. But if we win, Day said slowly, we end this war before it really starts. Instead of fighting 100 battles across 50 systems, we fight one battle that matters. He called a meeting of all Coalition leaders. Elder Kiva represented the Villani. The Threxian leader chimed their agreement through speakers. The Lithian glowed in their tank. Leaders from 6 other species gathered in person or via video. Day presented Lieutenant Su's plan. We strike at Krell Prime directly. Use everything we have. Hit them so hard they can't recover. It's risky, but it might end the war quickly. The room erupted in debate. Some thought it was suicide. Others saw the genius in it. The Manthar war leader supported it immediately. The Krell expect us to hide and defend. Let's attack instead. Surprise is worth 100 ships. The Lithian leader added their support. We've been afraid too long. Time to make the Krell afraid of us. One by one, the coalition leaders agreed. It was decided. They would attack Krell Prime. Word spread through the fleet. Soldiers prepared. Engineers worked overtime. Doctors stocked supplies. Everyone knew this would be the biggest battle in history. Commander Bay gathered Tiger Squadron. Only 16 of his original pilots remained. But now he had 30 new pilots from different species. This is it, people, Bay told them. Everything we've trained for. We're going into the worst fight imaginable, the Krell homeworld. But remember, we're not alone. We have each other. Human, Threxian, Villani, Manthar. We're all Tiger Squadron now. A Threxian pilot chimed up. What's a tiger? Bay grinned. An Earth predator. Small but fierce. Fights enemies much bigger than itself. That's us. Small compared to the Krell Empire, but fierce enough to win. The coalition fleet prepared to leave Villanis Prime. 600 ships. Tens of thousands of soldiers from 8 species. The biggest military force assembled in modern history. On the planet's surface, Villani civilians gathered to watch the fleet depart. They sang a traditional Villani song of hope and courage. The sound carried up through the atmosphere, and human pilots could hear it on their ships. Dr. May stood in the Mercy's command center. Her hospital ship was fully stocked. She had doctors from 5 species on her staff now. They were ready for whatever came. This is either the bravest or stupidest thing we've ever done, her assistant said. May smiled. Why not both? Engineer Tay completed the final checks on the quantum fold drives. 600 ships all synchronized. The jump to Krell Prime would take everything the drives had. There was no room for error. Drives ready, Admiral, Tay reported. When you are. Admiral Day stood on his bridge surrounded by his crew. Lieutenant Sue was at navigation. Captain Jin commanded from the Indomitable. Commander Bay sat in his fighter. Colonel Hyun waited with his Marines. Dr. May prepared her hospital. Across the fleet, tens of thousands waited for the order. Elder Kiva sent one final message from the surface. You saved us when no one else would. Now you fight for the freedom of everyone. The Villani will never forget. All the free people of the galaxy will never forget. Go with our hopes, Admiral Day. Show the Krell that tyranny dies when it meets courage. Day took a deep breath. He thought about Earth 47 light-years away. His grandchildren playing in the garden. His home. He thought about the Villani singing on their planet below. He thought about all the species living in fear across the sector. And he thought about the Krell, sitting on their throne world believing they were untouchable. Time to prove them wrong. All ships, Day announced across the fleet. This is Admiral Day Huang, commanding the Liberation Coalition. Today, 8 species stand together as one. Today we declare that the age of tyranny ends. Today we tell the galaxy that those who enslave others will face justice. We are merchants and scientists, artists and warriors. We are humans, Villani, Threxians, Lithians, Manthar, Corvex, Yulani, and Proth. We are different, but we are united.